Hello, I'm John Cunningham, and welcome to another episode of the RedChip Money Report. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Today's show features interviews with executives of 3 public companies. First up is Genius Group, stock symbol GNS on the New York Stock Exchange American. Genius Group is a fast-growing edtech player on a mission to revolutionize the global education system. It's disrupting the current education model with its student-centered, lifelong learning curriculum that prepares students with the leadership, entrepreneurial, and life skills needed to succeed in today's market. We'll learn more when we speak with the founder and CEO later in the show. Next up is Sidus Space, stock symbol SIDU on the NASDAQ. Sidus Space is leveraging over 10 years of mission-critical hardware manufacturing experience to offer customers vertically integrated products and services, taking concepts from design to launch and beyond, providing space-based solutions to the aerospace industry. We'll learn more from the founder and CEO later in the show. Up next is DGLY, stock symbol DGLY on the NASDAQ. DGLY is a diversified holding company with operations in video solutions technology, human and animal health protection products, healthcare revenue cycle management, ticket brokering and marketing, and event production. We'll learn more when we speak with the new president of DGLY, Brody Green, later in the show. Now, before we get to the first interview, our quote of the week. It comes from the book Small Stocks, Big Money. Get to know management, look for intelligence, a high level of integrity, strong communication skills, and make sure they understand their products and business well. This quote comes from Charles Diker, an investment manager featured in Chapter 8 of Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon for just $18. Now let's get started with our first interview today with Genius Group.
Roger, welcome back.
Great to be back again.
Genius Group is disrupting the current education model. How is your student-centered lifelong learning curriculum redefining education in the 21st century?
Well, we now have over 4 million students all over the world, and we've got several thousand joining pretty much every single day. And what makes us unique compared to other companies out there is we have designed our own curriculum from 0 to 100 years old. So that means that even parents of young kids can be thinking about how they're prepared for the 21st century. We see entrepreneurial skills, investing skills being very important for everyone out there right now. It's what people are looking for as well. So by integrating what people are wanting to learn into an accredited system, together with our university, together with our high school, it gives people an alternative to the current system. And that's our long-term goal as we continue to grow, is that we get remembered for being part of the education revolution that's taking place right now.
How big is the market opportunity, Roger?
Well, the entire lifelong learning market is going to be $10 trillion in size by the year 2030. So if you actually take that pie, about half of it is the entire high school and student primary school market. There is also the university side, which is another 25%. And then the remaining 25% is all corporate training, lifelong learning, and that's continuing to grow as people realize they have to re-educate themselves, especially in today's financial conditions.
Talk to us about your growth strategy. How are you scaling the organization globally, Roger?
So there's 3 big ways that we do this. The first one is knowing that by our acquisition strategy, where we're acquiring over certified bodies that enable us to be able to actually provide certifications all over the world. And then with that, being able to also be bringing on board EBITDA positive companies. We just had our earnings for 2023 guidance, and we actually are looking right now at getting closer to $50 million in revenues, which is, again, another 30% plus growth from the year before, and doing it with positive EBITDA, which is very unusual. That kind of leads to the second way that we're able to do that, which is that we have student metrics where it's costing us less than $1 per student joining us, and then we're seeing that they're actually spending up to $10 with us. And the reason for that is because we have EdTech high touch, high tech coming together. We have AI-driven genies that are guiding people on the pathway. We're using VR and introducing that in, so we have our own metaversity, and this gives everyone a gamified way of being able to develop themselves. We even have our GEM credit system, so we're not focusing at student debt, we're focusing at student credit. And the final piece is as a result of us adding to our team and having our partners all over the world, where we have now over 12,000 partners, which is meaning that we have country partners, city partners, localizing this all around the world. Every time we launch a new piece of our curriculum, it can be distributed to everyone around the world that needs it immediately.
The performance, Roger, is truly impressive. I want to focus on your revenue, up nearly 61% in the first 9 months of 2022. Also, the number of students surpassed 4 million, up 65% year over year. What's the cause?
It's really the market demand. I mean, at the end of the day, if you are using the same curriculum as everyone else, then you are really competing with everyone else as well. If you're delivering a new curriculum and someone says, well, where can I go to really learn how to be an entrepreneur, how to connect with entrepreneurs in different countries that are using these same skill sets and these same tools? How do I get in with a team that already understands assessment programs on how to find your passions, your purpose, which are all part of our platform as well? And at the same time, how do I do this in a way that I can bring my family on the journey as well? I don't think there's anyone that would disagree. The current education system does not do enough in actually teaching entrepreneurial skills, technology skills, or even financial literacy skills. And so there is a big gap in the market, which is what we're filling.
Roger, what differentiates Genius Group from other education companies such as Coursera and Udemy?
So the first thing is that those companies, while they currently are larger than us, they don't have their own accredited curriculums. They need to partner with universities where they don't have much of a say of how they can change that curriculum, or they're working together with smaller trainers, educators that don't necessarily have the kind of reach that some of the biggest educators in the world are. If you go to your kids right now, and I'm not just saying to you, I'm saying to everyone who's watching this, and you ask them where they did most of their learning in the last month, I bet you a lot of them would say, well, it's on YouTube, right? Or it's on some social media, it's reading a book, which, like, again, has millions of people following if it's a best-selling book. This is my experience because I was a New York Times best-selling author, and I had over 1 million students, but I wasn't accredited. And so that made it very difficult for people to see my education as part of their core curriculum. It's almost like something they had to do in addition. So by us attracting the top educators in the world because they're best-selling authors, or because they are YouTubers that have huge followings and they do really great work, and seeing that those same people can now have a training program that can be delivered all around the world, that we can deliver certification for trainers in any country as well, that's very unique. And that means for us to get to 100 million students, we just need to have 100 influencers or educators, each that has a following of million, and then be able to fold them into our accredited curriculum. I don't see anyone else out there doing that at the pace that we're doing it right now.
Which takes us now to the management of your team. It's, of course, so important to every company, and especially smaller cap companies. Introduce yourself, Roger, and some of the key players on your team.
Sure. Well, for me, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I'm solving my own problem with this business and now solving it for many others out there that are educators and for the students that actually want to get to that education as well. So I'm the CEO of the company, and I'm in this for the long term. We have got Erez Sima, who is our CFO. He's had experience building multi-billion-dollar businesses and actually taking them also from public through to the next couple of levels of growth that we are now moving into. We have Rav Kaval, who is our CRO, so looking after all of our enrollments, all of our revenues, and finding all of the ways to connect the pieces together. We had a new addition recently I'm very excited about. Her name is Saranjit Sangar. She was the European CEO for a company called Upgrad, which is very similar to Coursera. It's India-based. It also has a multi-billion-dollar valuation. In all these cases, these are companies that have been able to scale to the level that we believe we also are going to be able to scale as well. And so I believe we already have a very, very strong team on board.
Thanks for that, Roger. Tell us, why should investors be looking at your stock right now?
Well, first of all, I hope that everyone can see that if you yourself are caring about the future of education, if you've got kids or you actually have friends that know they have to re-educate, that you can see that we actually are looking to solve what is a very present problem that exists in the world today. So for that reason alone, I hope that for some investors, they'll see that that is a worthwhile reason to come on board. But I think there's a second thing as well, especially for investors, is that we've actually quite recently been quite vocal about the fact that we have been attacked by naked short selling. We got the evidence of it. We've been out in the market sharing this as well, because after we listed the company at $6 a share, we saw that price go right under $1, and we knew that there'd been some issue of market manipulation. We brought lawyers on board. We actually found out exactly what that is, and what that's allowed us to do is now start taking the next steps of action together with our investors to protect ourselves and to grow as well. And I really believe that the future for anyone who comes on board right now and becomes a part of our community is that they can see for the long term this $10 trillion market that we're in, that we have a leadership position. And as long as we keep on building and scaling in a competent way, is going to allow us to be able to get a very significant part of the future market that we are focusing at.
Great story. Thanks for sharing it with us today.
Thank you so much.
Now, to get more information on Genius Group, visit geniusinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free. You can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Genius Group. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can order Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon for just $18. Now let's move on to our next interview today with Sidus Space.
Carol, thanks for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
That's our pleasure as well. You are a space as solutions company. I want you to talk to us about your solutions, what you're offering.
Sure. So Cytus is a space as a service company, as you mentioned, which means that we provide end-to-end solutions for space, including satellite design, manufacture, test, launch into a satellite constellation to provide space-based data for our customers. But it's much more than that. We also provide hardware manufacturing, mission-critical hardware for defense and for space companies, including Lockheed Martin, some of the larger primes, and then some of the commercial companies like Blue Origin and others.
And what are the types of parts that you manufacture?
So I'll give you an example. Artemis 1 just recently launched for NASA, the large SLS rocket, and we were a part of multiple areas manufacturing hardware for that rocket, whether it was for parts for the solid rocket boosters or the core stage, or even supporting the ground support for the Orion capsule on top.
Amazing, amazing. What would you say are your competitive advantages?
I think our competitive advantages include the fact that we've been in business for over a decade, manufacturing hardware and space-rated hardware. That's really important. You have to get flight certified, to be able to launch into space. So we've got that. We also have great opportunity, I think, with our growth. And when you look at the space-based data and where the economy, the space ecosystem is going, we're really primed and at the beginning of that to be able to support.
Let's talk about the space-based economy. How big is the market for the products and services that you're offering?
Sure. The total addressable market is actually very, very large. There's a number of different estimates, 1 trillion, 1.4 trillion. But then even within that, the small satellite market is described to be somewhere around growth position for 258% growth over the next decade or so, equating to around 55 billion. So you can see, and that's without even really understanding what the economic multipliers are for it. We're at the crossroads here, just like the internet. So, the opportunities are just endless.
Let's talk about your LizzieSat satellite. What's its purpose? How does it work? How is it different from existing satellites?
Sure. So LizzieSat is a 100-kilogram satellite, which is about the size of a coffee table. And what that means is you can integrate more systems into a little bit larger satellite. You can integrate more customers into it. And you can have kind of defining types of subsystems like propulsion. Propulsion allows you to manipulate a satellite, whether it's to keep it up on orbit longer, which means more revenue, or it might be being able to position to focus on a certain area. So that's a big difference then between smaller, what they call CubeSats, and then the larger 300 million type of military satellites. So that's really what the benefit
So these
is.
CubeSats, then, what are the applications? I know we've talked about agriculture, but give us some examples.
Well, the satellites in general, whether it's agriculture, and that can be supporting taking a look at crop moisture and making some decisions when that all translates and flows into the financial markets. It can be tracking assets. Maritime is an example, being able to track the maritime logistics patterns and transportation flows, and being able to provide that information back to consumers or to other companies. Imagery is one that everyone's pretty familiar with, right? Being able to provide near real-time imagery in certain areas.
Talk to us about the business model. How do you make money?
We make money in multiple ways. It goes back to that space as a service model. A variety of different capabilities, not just a one-trick pony kind of a thing. And so the biggest opportunity is tied around space-based data, similar to the software as a service model. Being able to capture a significant amount of data faster, cheaper, and then provide that to not only companies, but also to consumers. An example might be environmental groups that are looking to see the trends related to something. One might be related to cruise ships. Are there any damages to coral reefs from cruise ships coming through? Or there might be tracking the patterns of fishing, migration, things like that.
Let's go back to the business model. You're making money on the manufacturing side, and talk to us. The big data is a way you're going to make money. Anything else?
Absolutely. Well, I think that's an important distinction there. So right now, the majority of our revenue is from our manufacturing, and it's significant, and it's a positive because that helps support the development of our follow-on satellite offerings. But eventually, that's going to flip because, again, the opportunity when it comes to data is an exponential growth because you collect once, sell many times when you're looking at data and providing to multiple customers. So there's multiple customers can look for the same data.
Let's talk about the management team. You have a very interesting background. Let's start with you.
So I've been called an astropreneur, but my background is really in engineering. I have another company that I grew from one person to a $50 million company. Cytus is a spinoff from that, so I have that experience. Also, I am a former naval flight officer. Flew for a few years in the Navy. And again, I've been in the business of space for well over 2 decades, getting close to 3.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. Who else on your board or management?
So also my chief technology officer, Jamie Adams, has 35 plus years working for NASA and Boeing and other agencies really focused on innovation. My chief mission operations officer, John Curry, actually worked for Blue Origin. He was a NASA flight director, and also Sierra Space, another up-and-coming commercial space company. And then my CFO, Teresa Birchfield, has 30 years in the financial and accounting markets and also a public company CFO.
Carol, to sum up today, what's the essential value proposition for investors? Why should they consider owning your stock today?
Well, first of all, Taglich Brothers analysts have a target of $4.50 on our stock. And then you combine that with the fact that we've been generating revenue for over a decade. We have an experienced leadership team. They have worked for Blue Origin, they've worked for NASA, Lockheed Martin, Boeing. And then the fact that we are on the cusp of major milestones for our company when it relates to our satellite constellation, you can see that in this billion-dollar space economy that we are poised for expansion.
Brilliant. And I would simply say that investors like to buy stocks of companies that are getting better. They short stocks that companies are getting worse. Your company's getting better and better and better. And I think given where the price is today, I can confidently say, even though I get paid to say this, the stock is undervalued. That's what the analyst at Taglich Brothers that covers this space, that knows this company says. $4.50 target price. Carol, it's great being with you today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Now to get more information on Sidus Space, visit SidusSpaceInfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free. You even can subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com featuring emerging growth companies like Sidus Space. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. Now let's move on to our next interview today with DGLY.
Hello, everyone. We are pleased to have Brody Green in the studio with us today. Brody is taking over as the new president of Digital Ally in 2023. Brody, congratulations and great to have you on the show today.
Appreciate you having me today.
Brody, as the new president of Digital Ally, you are filling some big shoes, namely those of Stan Ross, who is going to remain as CEO. Tell us more about your new role.
Yeah, Stan obviously was with the company for the past 17 years, and he's done a great job with the company, and it's gonna be a big set of shoes to fill. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and Stan's going to take over the entertainment side and really follow his passion and what he runs after, which is truly entertainment is where he was born and raised. So it'll be a new chapter for him, which I'm excited to see.
Tell us more about your passion for law enforcement, and I understand you have a family history?
Correct. Yeah, I actually had a father that was in law enforcement for 37 years and an uncle, I think he surpassed 41 years in law enforcement as well, and a brother in the Air Force. So I'm the odd one out, but it's something I've been passionate about and grew up around for my entire life, so it's fun to be on this side of it.
All you did was grow up to run a company, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Brody, the company that you are leading has been doing very well recently with some great revenue growth, 83% growth year over year in the third quarter of 2022. In particular, your video solutions, the legacy business of Digital Ally, and your healthcare billing are driving some strong growth. Give us some details, please.
Yeah, the video solutions side's been doing great with the new products we brought to market earlier this year. More to come there as well, which is exciting to see all the R&D starting to pay off. And then the medical billing side, we started mid-2022, and through several creative acquisitions in the past year or so, we're starting to see those pay off and all really come together, both top line and bottom line for the medical billing side. And the video solutions side is also on a very nice upward trend we're excited to see continue on.
It is always so impressive to see how much sense all these different segments of Digital Ally make. Let's look at one of them again a little more in depth, Brody, the healthcare. The Digital Ally Healthcare pursuing a roll-up strategy in the medical billing industry. Give us more details there.
Yeah, so that one we started probably mid-22, as I stated earlier, and that one we've done just a range of acquisitions of smaller family offices, different sizes ranging from $500,000 to $3 or $4 million. So it's any shape and size we've looked at acquiring, and then right-sizing them, maximizing the profitability and the margins on them to really just bring in good revenues and good profitability as well.
One of the segments that must be near and dear to your heart, the video solutions segment, has passed an important milestone recently, Brody, 200 subscriptions from law enforcement agencies. Congratulations on that. Give us more details, please.
Yeah, it's a big milestone for us, and we're excited to get there, but that's just the beginning for us. The past few years, we turned to the subscription model that offers a 3 to 5 year subscription plan for these law enforcement agencies that'll allow them a little more flexibility when it comes to their capital expenditures and meeting their budgets and whatnot. So it gives them the flexibility and nimbleness they need to make these purchases, which then also goes together with our new products that we brought to market, which is really showing a strong amount of momentum moving forward. So we're on the right trajectory here, and we're hoping to see it continue on.
Digital Ally, with its many segments, must have many partnerships. We haven't even mentioned one of your key partnerships yet, a name everyone knows, NASCAR. Tell us more about that key partnership with NASCAR and your other partnerships. Yeah,
that partnership's been great for us. I think we're going on 6 or 7 years with them now, which has been great, and it's brought a lot of opportunities to us in our group, as the business-to-business opportunities there are dramatic, not just with the partners that NASCAR has, but also just customers and fans there that also get to see our products and see what they're capable of doing. So we've made some great relationships there, as well as with RLL, the IndyCar sponsorship. So we've had some great opportunities come through those, and one of them being an insurance broker, being their preferred commercial video camera, which is a whole nother part of our video solutions group that's excited to see a new product come out early of 23, and really going to see that product hopefully take off.
Brody, it's a company with a lot of moving parts. I'm sure you would agree there. Tie it all together into an essential value proposition. Why should an investor take an interest in Digital Ally right now?
Right now, we finally have new products to offer. We're going on, I think we had 8 years of the same body camera. So this past year, we've come out with 2 new body cameras, all new software back-end solutions, as well as a new commercial product coming up. That's exciting for us, and I think that the market's going to take it very well. We also have the medical billing side, which is growing both top line and bottom line. So we're very excited about what the future holds. We're going to continue to innovate, and we're going to continue to focus on these groupings we currently have and really focus on driving profitability for the shareholders.
It is a great story, Brody, and congratulations again on this new opportunity for you. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for the time.
Now, to get more information on Digital Ally, visit digitalallyinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free. You can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Digital Ally. Again, visit redchip.com today and subscribe. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book written by RedChip CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon.com for just $18. Now let's recap the companies you met today. First, you met Genius Group, stock symbol GNS on the New York Stock Exchange American. Led by the New York Times bestselling author and Wealth Dynamics founder, Roger James Hamilton, Genius Group delivers a universal, personalized, and inclusive lifelong education system with an AI-driven edtech platform and a 21st century curriculum to provide students with an alternative to the traditional education system. Executing from a strong foundation, Genius Group is in a great position to continue to generate rapid growth with plans to deliver greater than 50% annual growth in the years ahead. Again, to learn more about Genius Group, visit www.geniusuinfo.com. Then you met Sidus Space, stock symbol SIDU on the NASDAQ. Uniquely positioned as an international space station implementation partner, Sidus Space is preparing to launch its LizzieSat-1 small sat in the future. LizzieSat-1 small sat is the first satellite in a multi-mission constellation to be owned and managed by Cytus that's expected to become a major incremental revenue driver for the company in quarters ahead. Cytus is led by an accomplished management team with more than 150 years of combined experience gained at NASA, Blue Origin, Lockheed Martin, and more. Cytus is ideally positioned to deliver on its mission of bringing space down to Earth. Again, to learn more, visit CitusSpaceInfo.com. Then you met Digital Ally, stock symbol DGLY on the NASDAQ. Digital Ally's diversified holdings, which generated a 191% revenue increase year over year in the first 9 months of 2022, provide multiple growth opportunities. The company's acquisition of new business lines and its evolution from hardware-focused sales to a subscription-based model for its legacy video technology solutions business over the past 24 months was a key driver in their strong performance. Also, the planned upcoming spin-off of its entertainment assets could unlock additional shareholder value. Learn more about Digital Ally by visiting digitalallyinfo.com. Again, if you have any questions about any of the public companies featured on today's show, please call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile asset class. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies, So please always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new exciting emerging growth companies.